It just seems like the big issue is spending. So what's the chance that spending is addressed before big things like tolls and other things come about?
Exactly, Gail.
That's me. Well, it was disappointing to have a look at this first budget proposal from the governor because it has almost no cuts in it. It has only, doesn't have any increase in tax rates, but it has taxes on everything you weren't taxed on before. And then it has tolls. And then what else has it got? It's got some other increases. Yeah, well, it has one sentence about marijuana, which we'll see where that goes. So it's all a revenue-based budget, which is, and spending increases. I mean, we just had those employment contracts we voted on the other day that had 6.5% guaranteed wage increases per year per employee. A guaranteed 6.5% raise. New promises. Lori, it's got nothing to do with breaking past promises. It's what do we do going forward? No one's talking about breaking any past promises. We couldn't if we wanted to, and it wouldn't be fair. But so there are many places to look at cutting spending. One of those is going back into the contracts, because that is what's eating up 40 to 45% of the budget. And it's not so much wages as it is fringe benefits. And yes, that's locked in until 2027, but yes, there are things you can do to open it up and to renegotiate. That is one place where there's a lot that could be done. And then there are, we just started the budget hearings today, but they're going to go on for the next 2 weeks. And there's a number of places, just even in the areas of fraud and abuse and things like that, there are a lot of cuts that could be made. And also when we're, this is a different area, but when we're talking about bonding here, one of the things behind Prioritized Progress was the bonds that become STO bonds, well, that they're still general obligation bonds, but that are transferred, the money that's transferred over to transportation, those bonds were being used for things we didn't need. There's a lot of what would be called certainly on the national level, pork, special projects. So there's a splash pad in New Haven that costs $285,000. I think that's a good example. Yeah, no, Michael, it's there's a whole lot of stuff like that. So there's a whole lot of places to cut spending, but that was not the focus in this first proposal. So we are going to see to that to answer your question.
We have a question.
And I would just like to add a few thoughts on that too. There was something that came out again in the bipartisan budget that was passed in October 2017. And the reason we had a bipartisan budget is because the numbers in the Senate, there were 18 Republicans, 18 Democrats. In the House, it was 78 Republicans, 78 Republicans, 72 Democrats. So we
78 Democrats, 72 Republicans.
Right. So the Democrats have been in the majority in our state for 40 years, and they are addicted to spending. I mean, we see that every day. However, when the numbers were very close, we had a real voice at the table. Do not give up hope. 2 reasons. One, there's something that came out in that bipartisan budget called the Fiscal Stability and Economic Growth Plan, Commission Plan. It was chaired by Jim Smith, who was the just recently retired CEO of Webster Bank, and a guy named Bob Petroselli, who founded 3 very successful healthcare companies. They are both multi-generation Connecticut. It was a bipartisan group of 14 people, Republicans, Democrats, unaffiliated. They all agreed on this plan. One of the big pieces of this plan was to take benefits and pension benefits out of collective bargaining. Right now, state unions drive the legislative Democrats, and I cannot say that and hit that home hard enough. You all need to communicate to if you have a state senator or a state representative that's a Democrat, please ask them to rethink their votes on union contracts and union benefits. As Gail just mentioned, she led the debate against voting in, I think it was judge referees.
It was
public defenders. On Wednesday, just as Governor Lamont is giving his budget talk about how we have no money and how are we going to do this, the Democrats' party line vote in benefits that are simply not sustainable. And they do it every day up in Hartford. So the other thing is, please communicate to your state reps and state senators. Ask them to not, we do have to honor past contracts. And I'm a union member for my first career, so I understand collective bargaining. This is not a statement against collective bargaining, but when your pension, when your benefits, almost free health care, when you retire, it is free health care. And, well, I'm not going to name names, but I think we all know who they are.
So,
Thank you.
just one last point on the budget.
And the other thing is, I do feel very strongly that Governor Lamont, it's very similar, both Irish names, and it's hard.
Nothing
and
wrong
they're
with
two
that.
syllables, and no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. Hey, we're in the Midwest. It's two L's, two M's, two A's. It's all, anyway. I do believe sincerely that Governor Lamont wants to fix this, and he wants bipartisan work on this. So I do believe that is a bright light in our future. You do have to communicate with your state reps and state senators. Paid family leave is coming up. This is not good for Connecticut in the current form.